Lily, what are you doing?
I'm ordering, Mama, like a big girl.
I told myself I wouldn't walk over. Then that little girl raised her hand and I was already standing up.
Men don't like single moms. That's just the truth.
Then he said something that completely destroyed that belief.
She said men don't like single moms. His reaction shocked her. I was sitting in the fanciest restaurant in Chicago, alone, in a red dress I hadn't worn in 3 years, with my 4-year-old daughter eating a bread roll across from me. This was not how my sister Claire planned the evening. She'd made the reservation weeks ago, non-refundable, Belmont's, the kind of place where the menu has no prices on the women's side and a single glass of wine costs more than my electric bill. Her plan was simple: force me out of my yoga pants into a dress into the world. Then her hospital called, emergency shift, and my babysitter canceled 40 minutes before dinner. So here I was, Maya Hartwell, single mom, table 7, ordering coffee in a restaurant that expected salmon. My daughter Lily, 4 years old, blonde curls, the spiritual energy of a tiny CEO, was arranging sugar packets into a tower. She did this everywhere we went. I'd stopped apologizing for it. "Mama," she said, without looking up from her construction project, "that man keeps looking at you. Eat your bread, bug. He's looking again. Lily." She finally looked up at me with those enormous blue eyes that have never once in 4 years failed to completely destroy my composure. "Talk to him." I did not look up. I had a rule I'd built slowly and painfully over 3 years of raising Lily alone, of watching men's eyes go from interested to calculating the moment they spotted the car seat in my back seat. The rule was simple: don't hope for things that aren't meant for you. I focused on my coffee. Then Lily raised her hand. Not at me, at the waiter, like she was in kindergarten, which, to be fair, was exactly where she'd learned it. The waiter appeared, gracious and visibly charmed. Lily ordered hot chocolate with the gravity of someone signing a treaty. She said thank you very much when he confirmed they had it. I exhaled slowly. "She's amazing." The voice came from beside my table. Close but not too close. Careful, the way you approach something you don't want to startle. I looked up. The man from 2 tables away was standing there, gray t-shirt, dark hair, the kind of face that had been through something real. Not untouched pretty, but striking in the way of someone who had actually lived. He had his hands in his pockets and looked almost surprised at himself for walking over. "I'm sorry," he said immediately. "I don't do this, ever actually, but I watched her raise her hand and He stopped. A smile broke through, the kind that starts in the eyes. "I have a daughter. She's 6. She does the exact same thing." I looked at him for one careful second. "Does it work every time for her too?" I said. He laughed, sudden and real. "Every single time. I'm Caleb Mercer. Maya, and this is Lily." She asked. I pressed my lips together. Caleb crouched down to her level. "Stistig out not in a perform look he how good I am with kids way." But naturally, like it was just the obvious thing to do. "I honestly don't know," he said seriously. "Am I?" Lily took her time, examined his face, tilted her head slightly. "Yes," she decided. Then she patted the empty chair beside her. "You can sit down." He looked at me. I didn't know what I was doing. I knew exactly what I was doing. "You can sit down," I said. He sat. The hot chocolate arrived. Then somehow food appeared. Actual food, not just coffee. And we were talking. Slowly at first, the way careful people talk when their testing ground they're not sure will hold them. He was an architect, grew up in Columbus. His daughter Emma lived with him full-time. Her mother had left for Seattle when Emma was 2, choosing a career and a life that didn't have room for a toddler. He said it simply, without venom, the way people talk about wounds they've finished bleeding from. I found myself talking too, really talking, the unedited version, not the polished one I usually offered. The babysitter who canceled, my sister's reservation, the winter boots Lily needed and the salmon I'd refused to order. He listened, not politely, actually listened. His eyes stayed on my face. "You ordered coffee," he said. "It was the only reasonable thing on the menu. In a restaurant with a dress code, the dress was free, My sister ambushed me with it. Something shifted in his expression, softer, but not soft in a pitying way. For what it's worth, he said, you look like that in the dress because of how you carry yourself, not because of the dress. I felt heat climb my face and I hated it. I hadn't blushed in 3 years. I didn't have the energy for it. Don't, I said. Don't what? Say things like that. I have a 4-year-old and concealer covering dark circles, and I haven't slept past 6 a.m. since 2021. I stopped. And? He said. And men don't. I caught myself. He waited. He didn't push, didn't fill the silence, just waited. I looked at him across the candlelit table, at this man I'd known for 40 minutes, and something about the patience in his eyes made me say the thing I'd been carrying for 3 years like a stone in my coat pocket. Men don't like single moms, I said. That's just what's true. We're complicated. We have... I nodded toward Lily, who had graduated from sugar packets to stacking creamers. Everything that comes with us. And most men look at that and decide the math doesn't work. I've stopped blaming them for it. I shrugged. Stopped. Caleb was quiet for a moment. The restaurant moved around us. Candles flickered. Then he said, Emma's first word was no. Her second was mine. She spent 4 months last year eating exclusively orange food. Carrots, sweet potato, cheddar crackers, orange jello, only orange. For 4 months. He paused. I have read Goodnight Moon so many times I could recite it in a court of law. I've attended more tea parties this month than board meetings. I have developed strong personal opinions about glitter glue. I stared at him. What I'm saying, he continued, his voice quieter now, is that I know what the math looks like from the outside. I've been on the other side of it, people looking at me and Emma and doing that same calculation, too complicated, too much. He met my eyes directly. But it's not math, it's just fear. And I've had enough fear in my life to recognize it, and I've learned, slowly and the hard way, that the things that look complicated from a distance are almost always just the things that actually matter. Something I had been holding for a very long time came loose in my chest. I didn't say anything. I couldn't. Lily looked up from her creamer tower. She had, it turned out, been listening to the whole thing. Emma is 6? She asked Caleb. She is. Does she like dinosaurs? She loves them, especially the ones with the long necks. Lily sat up very straight. Brachiosauruses, she said, with enormous authority. Caleb's face did something I had no name for, surprised and moved and lit up all at once. Yes, exactly, Brachiosauruses. Lily nodded, satisfied. She turned to me with the decisive energy of someone who has made up her mind. Mama, Emma should come to my birthday party. Bug, we don't even... She can bring her dad, Lily added, gesturing at Caleb like she was making a very reasonable business proposal. Caleb was grinning, wide and helpless, the most unguarded I'd seen him. That, he said, is the best invitation I have ever received in my entire life. I laughed, startled and real and loud enough that the table beside us glanced over. I hadn't laughed like that since I couldn't remember when. 6 months later, I still think about that night. Not the dress, not the restaurant, not even what he said, though I have thought about those words more times than I'll ever admit. I think about Lily raising her hand for the waiter, Lily patting the chair, Lily inviting a man she'd known for 8 minutes to her birthday party with all the calm authority of someone who simply recognized something good and decided not to let it walk away. She was right, of course. She usually is. Emma came to the birthday party. Purple balloons. Dinosaur cake. Specifically Brachiosaurus, because Lily had opinions. The two of them spent 45 minutes in the backyard solemnly explaining to each other which dinosaurs were the best and why. Caleb stood beside me and watched them and said nothing. And I stood beside him and said nothing. And it was the most comfortable silence I'd been in for 3 years. My sister Claire cried when I told her the whole story. I pretended not to notice. Then Lily walked in, looked at both of us and said, I think we should have hot chocolate. So we did. I don't tell people anymore that men don't like single moms, not because it isn't sometimes true, but because the right one, the one who has also sat at his own table 7, in his own quiet restaurant with his own daughter and his own carefully carried weight, he doesn't see complicated. He sees the thing that matters, and he sits down. Golden heart stories, because the right person doesn't run from your real life. They walk straight into it.